the judges ready?
Yes.
Is the timer ready?
Yes.
Affirmative team?
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Elijah Muirhead, and I am against the resolution that the slavery issue was a justified reason for the American Civil War. Quote, what difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless whether the mad destruction is wrought in the name of totalitarianism, in the holy name of liberty, or democracy? Mahatma Gandhi. War is never the answer to a problem. All war brings is more death and harm. And even if the good is found after war, to whom does it matter? Only to the traumatized who live to see it for a short time. Therefore, I oppose the resolution that the slavery issue was a justified reason for the American Civil War. Observation 1, definitions. I accept all the affirmative definitions. Observation 2, value. My value is life. Observation 3, criterion. I have no criterion. Observation 4, contentions. Contention 1, lives are traumatized. Quote, all war causes trauma. War is trauma. When you send people to war, you will traumatize them, and everyone they touch. They will have wounds of the heart for the rest of their days. End quote, by Madison Weiss. It is painful enough to discover with what unconcern they speak of war and threaten it. They do not know its horrors. I have seen of it to make me look upon it as the sum of all evils. End quote, by Stonewall Jackson. Quote, all wars eventually act as boomerangs, and the victor suffers as much as the vanquished. End quote, Eleanor Roosevelt. In summary, in war, lives are lost, and those who survive are not happy. They are not fine. No, they're in agony, sorrow, trauma. They suffer as much as a slave, but with blood on their hands. A war over an issue that leads to another more pressing one isn't a fight worth fighting. Contention 2, lives are ended. Quote, it is my conviction that killing under the cloak of war is nothing but an act of murder. End quote, by Albert Einstein. Quote, over the course of 4 years, more than 618,000 men would die, more than the combined military losses of the Revolution, the War of 1812, the Mexican War, the Spanish-American War, Korean War, the 20th century's 2 world wars combined. Larry Schicart and Michael Allen. In summary, in death there is no enjoying of freedom, of union, peace, love, happiness, or even sorrow. An abused, tortured slave has more than a dead man, because death is the end. Death is the enemy. Using him means he has won. Contention 3, lives can be kept. Quote, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting, end quote. Sun Tzu. Quote, war may sometimes be a necessary evil, but no matter how necessary, it is always an evil, never a good. We will not learn how to live together in peace by killing each other's children, end quote, by Jimmy Carter. Summary, a fight is not wrong, but peace can only be achieved, can only be truly known if there is no death, if lives are preserved. In response to the affirmatives case, keep going, okay. In response to the affirmatives case, she states in her first contention that slavery is morally wrong. And I agree, but however, quote, education is a better safeguard of liberty than a standing army, by Edward Everett. War, however, could be avoided, and liberty could be attained without bloodshed. In her second contention, she states that it is splitting our country in half. And I agree, slavery was splitting our country in half. However, quote, this world of ours must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate, and be instead a proud confederation of mutual trust and respect. Summary, we need trust and respect, not war, to be proud of ourselves. Finally, she says it goes against the concept of equality. And quote, peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be attained by understanding. Summary. Peace. We cannot have peace through force. We cannot have liberty through force. We can only achieve equality through peace. In conclusion, therefore, I urge the judges to vote for the negative. Thank you. I now stand open for cross-examination.
Good, you had a minute left. Do you need time for cross?
30 seconds, maybe.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Are the judges ready? Time ready? Negative team ready?
Yes.
Okay. So can you repeat your second contention, please? All of it, you're going here separately.
All my quotes of my second contention?
Yeah.
Contention 2. Lies are ended. It is my conviction that quote, it is my conviction that killing under cloak of war is nothing but an act of murder, end quote, by Albert Einstein. Quote, over the course of 4 years, more than 618,000 men would die, more than the combined military losses of the Revolution, the War of 1812, the Mexican War, the Spanish-American War, Korean War, and the 20th century's 2 world wars combined, end quote, by Larry Schweikart and Michael Allen.
Who's Larry Schweikart and
Larry Schweikart and Michael Allen are the authors to A Patriot's History of the United States by Penguin Group, 2014 print, page 321.
So this is from the observation of patriots?
No, this is just the name of Patriot's History of the United States.
But they were writing from like the view of the Patriots, or like their facts are going to come from the perspective of people that were not oppressed.
Yeah, facts
Yes
are
or
coming
no?
from everyone. No,
Okay, so but it's a Patriots history.
that means that it is not a people's history.
Yeah, so the people, including slaves, they weren't writing from the perspective of slaves, right?
No, they were.
Okay. And you said that war is never the answer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So is the answer, would you say that the synonym for answer is solution?
Sorry?
Would you say that an answer, like the synonym for the word answer is solution?
No, I would say the synonym for an answer would be a result.
Okay, so the result of the Civil War was slavery ended, correct?
The result of the Civil War was the
American slavery ended,
No.
yes or no? No?
No.
So how did slavery end?
slavery ended due to the Civil War, and eventually, but not right away after the Civil War. The Civil War ended with the combination, the union of the North and South.
Okay, but the North and South, the whole reason, I'm not going to say the whole reason why the Civil War happened was because slavery, but I'm going to say that the result of the Civil War was officially making slavery end, no matter if it was implemented or not, yes or no?
No.
So you're still going to say no, even though the Civil War, when it was ended, they had laws in the Constitution that slavery was abolished.
Sorry, could you repeat the previous question?
So I'm not going to say that slavery was the reason for the Civil War, right? But I'm saying that Civil War happening and the North winning was slavery officially and constitutionally being abolished. Yes or no?
In accordance to the resolution, yes.
Okay. So you're also saying that. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Oh, it's still good.
Okay, so it's
Do you want to ask one more question?
Sure. Okay, so are you saying that you also said in one of your contentions, I don't remember which one, that life was traumatized? That people that were be fighting in a war, that they would be traumatized because they fought in a war. And obviously when someone fights in a war, other problems happen.
Yes.
So Civil War ended in 1865 or 1866?
Somewhere
1865.
around that time.
Something around that time? So would you say that no one's alive from the Civil War today?
Not today, no, but their lives were affected then.
Okay, but no one was alive, yes or no?
No one's alive today.
From the Civil War. Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
All right, good job, you guys. Alrighty. So now, are you ready for your rebuttal? Do you need some prep time?
Yeah, I need some time.
Okay. How much prep time would you like there?
30 minutes.
3 minutes. Ready, set, and go.
How much time do I have, by the way? So I got
2 minutes, 48 seconds.
So I got an extra minute because of my extra, right? Did you have that?
Yes.
Okay, is the timer ready?
Yes.
Is the 9:15 ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, my name is Smaia Martinez, and I again am strongly urging you to vote for the resolution that slavery was a justified reason for the Civil War. I'm glad that we were able to accept the definitions for observation 1. Observation 3, contentions. The negative team says that life would be traumatized, that the lives of the soldiers that fought in the Civil War would be traumatized, and that even the victors would be traumatized of the Civil War. But actually, Civil War was in 1864, so none of those victims, as per se, are living. But I would also say that the outcome of the Civil War was greater than any lives lost in the Civil War. I have a quote from Harriet Tubman, quote, "I think slavery is the next thing to hell. If a person would send another into bondage, he would appears to me be bad enough to send him to hell if he could," end quote. We all know that Harriet Tubman was a very brave slave and that she fought for freedom from the time she was probably born to the time that she died. So the fact that she was calling slavery hell on earth and that she would rather die than become a slave or have slavery or anyone else endure slavery gives me the fact that the outcome of the Civil War, that any lives lost for fighting for freedom, for fighting for millions of people to live not as hellish as they were, that it was worth it. And that every day that she fought, she probably thought about that every single day. And the negative team also uses the source Patriots History. Patriots History seems like that the perspective would be from the Patriots, so they wouldn't have any idea of oppression. They wouldn't have any idea of the circumstances that the slave was in. They wouldn't have the actual idea of how gruesome and how horrific it was. So I don't think that's the best adequate source to be using in this debate. Also to reaffirm some of my other contentions. Contention 1, again, was that slavery was morally wrong. Contention 2, it was literally splitting our country into two. Quote, Dred Scott decision, formerly known as the Dred versus Scott John Sanford legal case in the Supreme Court on March 6, 1857, ruled 7-2 that a slave who had resigned in a free state, Dred Scott, was not entitled to his freedom, that blacks could not or ever be citizens of the USA, and that the Missouri Compromise was unconstitutional. This added fuel to the sectional controversy and pushed the country to a civil war. This quote about the Dred Scott decision, which we all know, he crossed the line of the Mason-Dixon line and he couldn't go. He tried to cross the line to be free, but his slave masters tried to get him back because they claimed that he wasn't free even though he was in a free state. This proves that even more that the Civil War was necessary because, one, America couldn't keep their compromises in order. They had the Missouri Compromise less than 20 years later, and they're now claiming that it's invalid and that it's unconstitutional, even though it was written in the Constitution. And that even the escape for slaves it wasn't an escape. They could be taken back at any time. Their papers meant nothing. Their freedom meant nothing. Contention 3, it went against the American concept of equality. Quote, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we faltered and lost our freedoms, we lose ourselves, end quote, Abraham Lincoln. We see throughout history that liberty and freedom was very important to the Americans from the start, that they fought for revolution, they fought in the Revolutionary War, and now we're having a civil war over slavery. Sorry, go
ahead, finish your.
that they're having a civil war over slavery. So I think that it was completely hypocritical and completely unethical to ignore the fact that millions of people were not having the same freedom that they so fought for every day. Thank you. I urge you to vote for the resolution and ask everybody for cross-examination. Or do we have cross-examination? No.
Remote.
Yeah. No. Just for both.
Good job.
So thank you.
Good. Okay. So he gets a 6-minute rebuttal.
Yes.
Do you want all the rest of your, might look at all the rest of your prep time?
I do have a question, Bob.
Yes,
How do you
dear.
attack when someone attacks my definition of
You just say, I don't agree with whatever. Make sense?
I guess.
Okay, I'm starting your prep time.
Okay. Are the judges ready?
Yes.
Is it time or
Yes.
affirmative team?
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Elijah Irvin, and I am against the resolution that the slavery issue was a justified reason for the American Civil War. The affirmative team has brought up the fact that all the victors, everyone who might have been traumatized during the Civil War, everyone who was traumatized during the Civil War is now dead. Well, the same thing could be said about the slaves too, who had suffered. And if one were to say slavery could still continue on today, I would like to point out that before even the Civil War begun, slavery had already ended in Britain and through peaceful means. And, quote, we must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means, end quote, by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. To inject the affirmative attack on the Patriots' history by Larry Schweikart Macon, A Patriots' History of the United States, by the Penguin Group, 2014 print. I disagree with her attack. The Patriots' History on the United States is an unbiased history book for all students and shows all the faults within America, as well as all the good things that America has done, but in an unbiased fashion. In closing, the affirmative case has failed to show that slavery is a truly justified reason for war. Quote, what difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless whether the mad destruction is wrought on the name of totalitarianism or in the holy name of liberty or democracy, end quote, by Mahatma Gandhi. In summary, the negative case has proven lives are traumatized, lives are ended, and lives can be spared. It is for these reasons that I stand firmly resolved that the slavery issue was not a justified reason for the American Civil War. I urge the judge to vote in favor of the negative. Thank you.
You have 3 minutes, 44 seconds left on that. Okay, so now do you need time?
Yeah, can I just have the rest of my time?
Certainly, of course. I'm gonna give you an even 3:45. I'll give you a little bit more. Hey, this is still on. Shh, this is still on. Yes.
Is the time ready?
Yes.
Is the negative team ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. I am Sanae Martinez, and I'm for the resolution that the slavery issue was a justified reason for the Civil War. Again, the negative team has just said that slavery was the same as the traumatized people in the war because the slaves were dead, because it was almost 100 years ago. But it's completely different because the people that were traumatized in the war and that are dead now, they fought for something that was right. But slavery could have been going on after those. If they wouldn't have never had the war, slavery could have been going on even until now, in 2019. And the ending of slavery also progressed to other things like segregation, to racial profiling, and to a lot of other things that Black people have to deal with today. So, Civil War should have ended when it ended, maybe even sooner. The negative team also says the Patriots' history was unbiased, But I just want to point out that the Patriots' history is a biased title in and of itself, that it says that it's from the Patriots' point of view, and that I have personal experience because I have read. You can quote me on this as a source because I have read the Patriots' history, and it is biased. It doesn't even have any of the perspectives from the slaves in the book, and it talks about patriots and how they are good for us and they're good for America, and how slavery was this horrific thing, but they don't talk about how really bad it was and how much it's going to have effect on black people and other minorities today, and even white people, just our relationship in general as United States citizens. Again, I want to say that slavery and the separation of the North and the South terrorist it down, it killed off people, and it showed that we have no compassion on people in general, and that we were hypocrites because we fought so hard for something for such a long time, not even just Revolutionary War, but before that, when we became pilgrims, when we came over here, that we wanted our freedom, we didn't want taxes, that we were angry, and that we started the revolution, but all the while, from hundreds of years, we were doing the same thing to people at the same time it was being done to us. I just want to read a quote from BBC, from history.com. Quote, in 1820, amid growing sectional tensions over the issue of slavery, the U.S. Congress passed a law that admitted Missouri to the Union as a slave state and Maine as a free state, while banning slavery from the remaining Louisiana Purchase lands located north of the parallel. This just shows that the Missouri Compromise, we were trading states. That just shows that we had an issue with each other, not just over slavery, but about other things. When a country's together, you don't trade states, you don't trade territories, you're acting separately. Slavery was a big, I don't know how to say this, a big cause of us being separated and not acting together. So please, I urge you to vote for the resolution. Thank you.
Right on time.
Wow.
Yay!
Contentions?
I think I attacked two, I didn't attack
Okay,
the last
see, I was like, I got it too. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no, cross-exam, so we can ask. We'll just do
Yeah, I was gonna ask her. I didn't realize how many.
So I was like, face shot. I surely had to.
I did it.
I gave you 2 tickets. I'm gonna give you 2 more
What time
tickets.
is it? 10:45.
I know, right? Team policy would have taken way longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And saying that it doesn't cover anything from like the, I was about to technically rebut here, but I I agree with you in some terms.
I was going to point out that I forgot to point it out. I was going to be like, oh, you agreed with me for my first contention? Because he kept saying that I agree with you, but...
For all of them.
Yeah, I was going to like, you agreed with this, you agreed with this, you agreed with this. Are those all my contentions? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Then you
that
agreed
would've
with me.
That
But
would've been
I
good.
forgot to do that.
That would have been a good. I mean, it's not necessarily exactly true.
Yeah, but
Right,
I would have
but that
twisted
would've been
your
a
words.
good-
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
see.
that. Don't be that way. Don't be.
For
No.
some reason, in the end, I felt like I heard you say my Patriots history isn't unbiased, but like
No,
it was
she said-
wrong.
No, I said it was biased.
That it was biased. I mean, that
I
it
don't-
was biased.
Okay, let's
I
go with
don't
that.
understand.
Patriots history is a biased text.
Yes.
We first day 1, we know that. However, what quote did he have from that?
It was
Did
a
that
fact.
quote show bias?
It was like
Sure,
kind of in
but it was just number facts.
Yeah.
So
That's why I was really
So it was
confusing.
it was
That's what
kind
I
of
should
a
have
weird- I mean,
checked.
it
It's
was-
like the quote I
it
used
was a
had
thing
nothing
to
to
check,
do with.
but
Yeah, I wasn't really attacking
You
your
should have
quote in
said-
itself.
No, no.
I was quoting your source.
But-
yeah. I mean, attacking your source. Yeah.
But sorry, this is like I just want to clear. By the end, when you attacked it, did you attack it by saying it's biased and it needs to have bias? You made it sound like it needed to have bias too.
No, I didn't say
actually,
that.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, you
It
made it
needs to
sound
have
like
this. It has this bias, but it needs to have this bias too.
No.
That
I'm just
would be
like
balanced
what?
bias.
I said, well, I mean, I can see how you would say that, but I was saying like
You're
that.
trying to
or-
say it
It
needs
doesn't
more
have
views
any
on
slavery
that
slavery.
it need more views
Yeah.
on slavery to make it, yeah, I guess a
But,
balanced
but when
bias.
you
if you wanna
continued
say
it out,
yeah.
you continued that out of it, and it sounded very
Everything
like
is
very.
biased, right? We've learned
Yay.
that.
It needs to be
Everything is
more
biased.
biased, but in this thing, I'm like, wait a second.
Well, when
This
it's
is
biased
beyond
on both sides, I feel like it's
That's
not
impossible.
not biased, but it's like more
Doesn't
open.
cancel.
I'm-
Yeah,
my
and-
bias is that God doesn't exist. Mine is that He does. Wait.
Yeah, it's like more of like if
We're
there's
both-
all
we're
atheists
biased
in the
on- I'm
room,
biased on
and
both-
instead of
both
half Christian,
points of
half
view.
atheist.
Let's
That's
talk
what it
about the
is.
structure. How do you guys feel about structure?
I feel so much better about this.
You guys are so
fun.
blessed to have
Excited.
this. I wish Liz was here.
So
Liz
Because I
did
feel
it
like rebuttals
before.
especially was really
Well,
hard
I
for
went
us.
against
You guys
Liz,
did a
so
great job.
I'll be more
You
prepared.
have She's
I
gonna
was
watch the video.
Why didn't you
Because-
cross-examine me?
Did I stop us?
Why didn't you cross-examine me?
We're
I was
still
really
recording.